Though it rains pounds of water by the second, and the earth seems as though it will never stop, one thing is certain, and that's Toriko!
Brandino Wolfensteino.
Welcome back, guys. Got the camera a little low there. Alright, let's get that higher up. Everybody, you already know who it is. The one, the only, the Brandino Wolfensteino, coming to you live from somewhere where it's raining. So, we have this week's episode of Toriko, and I'm just scrolling back a little bit just to refresh myself. But basically, they're finally on their trip to go to get another. They're flying on that balloon turtle, and they were talking about this triangle, the black triangle, which is basically just a super enlarged version of the Bermuda Triangle with properties that are greater and more mysterious than the Bermuda Triangle, because they had a point where there was like, oh, a meteor the size of like, Asia came down and was going to hit the planet, but it fell into the black triangle, and they didn't even hear like an explosion or like a giant like boom from it hitting the water. It just got sucked up and disappeared. So they're like, well, what is happening at the black triangle that's sucking everything up? And it's basically acting like a black hole with no repercussions. So they're going up, and that man Aimaru happens to display a skill of the revivalist type people on the Monster Hunter. That he shows that he has this specific type of moss that, even though they're not using it in real life time, but because of the way that they have this little planetarium thing that they're using to locate their way, is basically like how the Earth is anyway. He uses this moss to kind of help them figure out the best path, which the moss usually goes by like the best eating path, so it eats its way to the location that it wants to go. So they're trying to find the best path to get to where another is without having to deal with, a lot of stress. The plan works, even though it was on the surface of something that wasn't technically the Earth. The moss reacted the same way, and they used a drop of pear to kind of give it the extra oomph so it can work quickly. So they look at the path that they have to take through the black triangle, and it's basically like going through a labyrinth. And they're like, oh god, this is going to take way too long to get through, but we have to, I guess, find a way to try to use this. And then he's talking about how he learned a special dark technique that he only learned just recently, and everybody's like, oh, dark techniques? But Aimaru, you're supposed to be like, the shining, like, humble one. Like, what's going on? And he's like, well, I have to learn some stuff. In this world that's like ravenous and crazy, you got to learn the secret skill at some point. But then they get to the triangle, and I want to say this place is like how they would probably make the Bermuda Triangle in most movies, where it's like just storms and rapid like destruction and everything, but an inch away it's perfectly fine. But as soon as you cross that line, it's just like you stepped into like the biggest maelstrom hurricane that you've ever been in. And it's like all of these crazy whipping winds and tornadoes. I'm about to pull it up for you. There you go. All these crazy like tornadoes and winds just ripping. Those are all tornadoes, and that's in the atmosphere. Just ripping through the sky, and they're thinking like, how are we gonna get through all of this crap? The balloon, I don't think, is strong enough to withstand some of that. They were like, all right, let's go down to the ocean. They go down, and then they look at the ocean. The ocean is crashing from left to right, and it's got these islands in there that they basically look like the islands are getting taken straight out of the ground. So they might not even be islands. It's almost like they're floating masses of rock that are just getting taken back and forth. And they're like, how are we going to get to this island? This place is the most dangerous place that we can ever go to. And then boom, something attacks. So we got like these giant like water creatures. They're not, I don't even know if they have a physical form. I'm guessing they're just literally just a water creature where it's completely made out of water. Because first I was thinking it was going to be like a sea serpent coming out. Like, you know how some like water monsters usually like come up in the water and it just looks like a whole bunch of water and then they burst out and it's like some creature. This thing is literally made of water. And hold on. Literally made of water. It's just like this giant kind of like, I guess it would be like a fish lizard thing. And it's like coming at them. And if you could see it, that's them in the balloon down there. So this thing is gigantic. So they're thinking like, oh crap, we're in the toughest bind now. We didn't even know that we were going to have to deal with basically the water out here. Not just the maelstroms and everything. And they're like, oh god, we're not going to make it. Oh shit. Did lightning just strike the ocean? And fire doesn't usually come out of nowhere. And they're like, oh god, what's happening? So they see that there's some techniques that aren't specific to the area and seem a bit familiar. And Toriko's like, lightning techniques? Why would... That doesn't look like a normal lightning bolt, so what... Fire? Who could this... Oh... Guess who's back? Our man Brunchi! And we got our other guy, Star June. Sorry, I was not like, I knew his name, but it took me a second. But yeah, so we got Brunch and Star June coming in, lightning and fire, kind of like the pots from freaking Soul Eater, but you know. So they fly in, and now of course everybody's skeptical because Star June is there, and they're like, why is Brunch teamed up with Star June? That's ridiculous. What is he even doing here? And Star June's like, we don't have time to explain. Fire! Go, 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 go. And they're like burning up all of these water creatures, because there's a ton of them. And they're just coming in like all of this thing. And then like, as they're like about to take on these horde of like these water monsters, like they hear like a voice in the background like, hey, you guys, over here. And they're like, oh, what? What is happening? They look down and they see like this weird person that's just chilling out there. And they see this like big like fish thing. Gunman sunfish. I actually wanted to see like a sunfish in real life. But and it's pretty strong too. They zoom in and they're like, oh my god, who is that guy? And it was like, we don't know who that is. And then it's like, the one of the characters in the back was like, JJ. So we figure out now there was three main chefs. It was Kaka, Gigi, and I guess the other guy is Gigi, because I don't remember how exactly it's spelled. But you have the old perverted Nitro with the bald head that you met way early on before they even left. He was one of them. Then you had Kaka, which was the one that they just met, even though she was in the spirit realm. And then Gigi, the gold chef. He's the top of the top. And to find him like right, and then it's always crazy about like the super like esteemed characters. They're in like the most hellacious places, as if it shit is just a breeze. Like he's out here in the middle of this gigantic storm of whipping waves and everything. He's just out here fishing. He's like, hey guys, I came to meet you, you know. Since I feel like you would have trouble getting through here. And I'm like, what? This old guy is intense. It's like, we didn't even see any of his skills yet, and he's already proven us wrong, so. But that was the chapter. Overall, it was more of like just a travel chapter. It wasn't like a lot of action happening. I mean, when they was about to get swallowed up by that freaking water mammalian beast, then, you know, I was like, oh god, you know, it's over. But then Brunch showed up and Star June with the flames cooking up that water. Well, it was basic. He's just boiling water, so I guess he's not even cooking. made fun of his cooking skills. Anyway, so that's the review for today for Toriko. I got to do the rest of them, and they will be coming up after this. So make sure that you don't let the rain outside bring you down, because the dawn always rises on a new day.